You're supposed to go to college, get a master's degree, work for companies that matter, impress people at cocktail parties. So I did what my generation isn't supposed to do. The only person that really understood what we were doing was Liu Feng's grandfather. And he just said, you know, if you're going to do this, you have to call the beer Great Leap, because you're taking a huge risk.
Love is a burning thing, and it makes...
I got into brewing because I married a wonderful woman who allowed me to have a hobby to relieve stress from my other job.
You know, we went to Europe together. We just basically did like a beer trip. And I was like, you know, let's make something way better than what we could find in China. I think it was more of a drunk talk back then, but we kind of took it a little too seriously.
And the flames went higher, and it burns, burns, burns. The ring of fire, the ring of fire.
So when we got back from that trip, I think April or May 2009, when I first started brewing at home, and then by that fall we had friends that were working in the 798 district, so they asked us to bring our then very young, very novice beer to gallery openings and just see if like their friends and their network would like it, and the feedback we got was pretty good. We knew the basic science, we knew the basic sanitation, and we understood some aspects of marketing. We just started looking for a place to kind of take the hobby out of our kitchen.
And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire.
Once we got to the point where we were ready to open to the public, it was about a year later. We sent out an email to one friend who had helped me brew the first batch, and he called me maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes before he was supposed to arrive and said, hey, I sent out an email to some of my classmates and 60 people are coming. How are we supposed to serve beer to 60 people?
We were not really thinking what we were doing.
We were lucky we had glasses and all of the little accompaniment from when we were doing work at 798, and so we could actually kind of host that many people, but it wasn't until then that we realized that it could be a real business. There were a bunch of times where we couldn't find good raw materials, we couldn't find good, honest stainless steel engineers, we couldn't find good vendors, we were too small, nobody cared. But once you start seeing like a real customer base and a passion for what you're doing in your customers, then it's really hard to just say, screw it, I'm gonna walk away. When we look at our beer, we try to say, okay, when I drink this, this is what I feel. The aggressor in Chinese is Meng De, and Meng De was the character from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, who was also called Cao Cao. He's the quintessential representation of aggression. The first time I drank it, I just said, man, when I drink this, it's just really like, it's very straightforward but complex. And Liu Feng said, like, we have to name it after this guy.
We've been hitting the cinnamon ale, cinnamon one today, which is it's rocking. Super duper. Pale ale as well is good.
I've tried like 4 or 5 today.
They're all good. They're all good.
就大家都要来尝试一下，尤其在这个克永乌兰。
Real estate in Beijing is really quick. You usually find a property before it's on the market. And so if you're looking at properties that are empty, it's because nobody wants them. Then we just decided, you know what, why don't we just look for places that have a great location, but the business doesn't look like it's doing too well, and see if they'd be willing to let us take it over. There was a Japanese restaurant here. After we took it over, the owner put a sign on the door that said under renovation. In reality, he had given it to us. And before we had even started demolition, there were people pounding on the door asking if they could take the space over. It was one of those things where we had to be really aggressive. If we weren't aggressive, we would have never gotten this space. So we're really honored to be in a position where we get to watch all of it as it comes in and out of our doors and hear these stories and meet these people that are so inspiring. Everyone here is fascinating, whether they're local or foreign or Asian or white, or it doesn't matter where they come from, they've got this great story and this great reason for being in Beijing.
I love Beijing. I really love it. When you look out, there are always things going on.
Here, anything can happen at any minute. There's always something going on. At the end of the day, you look back and you're like, where else in the world could we have experienced that amount of emotion and reaction, like raw presence of humanity. For us, it's about making everything we're doing right now better for tomorrow.
I would really recommend Great Lake.
Best in Beijing.